Did you party last night? Do you wanna forget? Did you party last night? And now you regret? Well, Andrew's in the house and he wants to get your party story. Did you party last night and you woke up today? Did you party last night and you got something to say? Well, Andrew's in the house and he wants to get your party story.
Hey guys, it's Andrew again with another episode of Party Stories, and I'm got two special guests. I'm very excited, and I'm just going to bring them right in, and we'll start talking because we got about an hour, and we got two people. I've never done two. I'm very excited to get my first three-way podcast out of the way. Very excited. Yeah. I've got Dave Ross.
Hello.
Yeah, that's Dave, and I got Chris Charpentier.
Hello.
I got it right.
Yes, you did.
Yes,
you nailed it.
I was nervous.
Dude, your theme song is Reggie and the Full Effect.
It is.
Man, fuck off.
Isn't that great?
That's so cool.
Great. James DeWeese, man, he's an
old buddy, huh?
He's a good bud, and he's not even an old bud. I kind of just met him as like an adult.
Cool.
And I was a super big fan.
That's great.
I was a super big fan. I have like a Reggie and the Full Effect tattoo on my wrist, and I
love that guy, man. There's a show in LA at the House of Blues where Saves the Day played one of their album. They played Through Being Cool start to finish, and Reggie, he played one of his albums start to finish, and then Say Anything did too. It was over Christmas some year. And I knew a bunch of people there, so I was backstage, and and he walked in wearing a Santa suit because he had like been wearing a Santa suit and then stripped down to his like skin tight '80s dance part of the show that he does.
I loved it. What was it called? Fluctuation.
Is that what it's called?
He had like three different bands. It was like a metal band. It was like a Euro dance band.
Yeah.
It was like Fluctuation, and then the metal band was called Common Denominator.
That's right.
Wow.
He's so funny, and he walks in, and I had just seen Matt. What's his name? Matt from Get Up Kids.
Matt Pryor.
Yeah, I just seen Matt Pryor do a solo show also in LA, and he said on stage, "Hey, Reggie and the Full Effect is playing here in like 4 days, and so if you see Jamie, make sure you tell him how fucking funny I am." And because he had been killing in between the songs, just murdering with stories. And so I was like, oh, this will be cool. And I was like, hey, man, I'm Dave. You don't know me, but I just saw Matt Pryor, and he was hilarious. And he got so mad. I think it was
That's
a joke.
so funny.
But he just like ran up to us and was like, yeah, who the fuck do you think taught him to be funny? And I was like, I love you.
Yeah, no, he growing up, man. I remember I saw him open up for Alkaline Trio, and I never even heard of Reggie and the Full Effect at the time. I was just a fan of Alkaline Trio. Went to go see him, and then this live show that he did back then like blew my mind as a kid. Like I was like, this is too ridiculous and amazing. And then I don't know, it was great.
Well, yeah, man, back then especially, but now too, like people who are into pop punk, emo, and screamo and stuff, so many of them take it so seriously, and like it affects me deeply, and I love it. But yeah, he like knew it was inherently ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just cool to hear someone making the music. It sounds the way I want it to sound and the way I love, but to not
take it so seriously.
Yeah, it's great. He's the best.
No, he's one of my favorites, guys. So these guys are on tour. We're recording like we do most times from the Secret Group.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
So they're here for their Houston show, which is tonight. So this doesn't really help. We can't talking about it. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
too much.
if you somehow hear this right now on May 2nd, 2018,
if you're outside the door,
come
listening.
on in, please.
Yeah, stoked to be here, man. The tour's been great, but also I just love coming here, man.
Well, we've
got
had
a
you.
good thing going.
This is Chris's first time at the
Yes.
Secret Group, and this, Dave, you've been here at least. Maybe not here, but you've been to Houston through.
I've worked with you guys a bunch.
Yeah, at least 3 times now.
I guess this is the first time I have like a show with my name on it at Secret Group.
Well, you were on the festival.
Yeah, I did come and take it with Kanane. I came through with Kanane,
Yeah.
and then you brought me through for whatever.
Yeah.
And then also I came through another time, and I was going to perform here, but something happened, and we did the show at Warehouse Live, which was
It's because
dope.
we weren't open yet. There was like there was a handful of things where that we booked. We got so like excited, and then we took like 2 months to open, longer than we thought we were going to. So we moved everything down the road, and everything we moved because we moved it, and I don't know, confusion. It just nothing did well.
Sure.
It just fucked us.
I don't know, man. Warehouse Live. I remember that show being really good.
I love Warehouse Live.
We was in the little room, and I feel like it was pretty full. It was super fun. I always remember the shows where, because, I don't know, I have like a bunch of material that's all about like cum and shitting and fucking my parents and stuff, and it's just, the stuff
hits.
I love. Yeah, the hits.
Yeah, definitely.
Me being me. And sometimes I plan to do a lot of that or not, but the shows I had normally, I'm having the most fun when I go really, really overboard with that stuff. Because I just have the material, but if people are really loving it, I end up riffing and going on it. And I remember that show specifically, people being like really locking in with the dad fucking material. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you got to put the tester out when you know a crowd loves cum. You got to give it to them.
Yeah, dude, give him cum.
Yeah,
that's what my dad always said.
So tours.
So I fucked him.
Tour's been good. How do you?
Tour's been great.
We've been hanging out in Houston for like 2 days.
Got some barbecue.
We've been barbecuing.
Yeah.
We've been Fortniting. We've been.
And I
kind
think
of
we
want
need
to
to announce.
I kind of want to talk about it.
Should I announce and
Yeah.
you can celebrate, or would you like to?
Let the man announce his own news.
Oh,
Really?
okay.
Because I thought it might be cool if like someone else said it.
Sure,
and then
'cause
I
he
was
doesn't have
like,
to be the-
like introing. Like if you guys introed me on my own podcast, would be
Okay.
cool. Like, hey,
Sure.
Fortnite champion, or I don't know.
Okay, yeah, let us say it first, though.
Yeah. How about I'll do like an intro, like at a stand-up show, and then we say his name together.
Oh, that sounds pretty
I
good.
like that.
Yeah. Dave Ross here, the host of the Party Time, and yeah, right here at Party City, and I'm here with Chris Charpentier, and we would like to welcome to the podcast a man who, for the first time in his life, and we were actually able to witness this for
Thank
the first
God.
time in his life,
Wild.
came in first place, was victorious. He won at Fortnite. Andrew Youngblood,
Thank you very
everybody.
much. Guys, you were too kind.
Holy
to just
cow,
say
are you
that.
kidding me?
It was
Yeah,
crazy.
no, it was
you
wild.
wore that motherfucker down. The guy you were.
It wasn't. It wasn't like a. It wasn't like a. Oh my God, he's Rambo win.
It wasn't a killing spree.
It was a. It was like I'm a hide. I'm a creep. And then I don't know. But I wonder if anyone listens. I'm sure everyone plays Fortnite now. Not you guys. Well, now you do.
We found out.
We
I
do
played.
today.
Yeah.
We've been playing a lot.
All I know is that there's nothing wrong with outsmarting everybody. So
Totally.
That's true.
I think
That's
you did
true.
just fine.
Yeah, you just
may
got to
have-
be patient.
You may not have been the
I texted my.
MVP of the game,
Well, I was. I was
But
a
you did
champion.
win.
That would make me the MVP, right?
right?
Damn
It's not
right.
like if the Super Bowl, the MVP of the Super Bowl is never on the losing team.
That's true.
So
That's true.
by
You're
default.
both the winner and the MVP.
Yeah.
We didn't realize that.
yeah, well,
It was awesome, man. We were sitting there watching him play, and he was like sweating and shaking and stuff. And then
It was
I've
a
never. I guess I just like it was really exciting for me. But when you won, I didn't realize how much of a culmination this was for you. You are a happy grown man. It
Yes.
was fun to watch.
it was like a minute of like, holy shit! I threw the controller on the ground, and
Totally.
also there was a minute. Well, not a minute, but it felt like a minute where I thought I lost. I
Yeah.
thought it was like I was
Yeah.
like, oh shit, what happened? And then I was like, oh,
right.
what? Yeah, like,
You
I
were a
just-
second. I mean, what happened was, I don't know if you played the game, but the storm closed in on both him and the other last guy. And that last guy it seemed like was going to kill him.
It did,
But he
seemed
just had
really
less
good.
health
less
than
health
you.
and less planning. I think he boxed himself up, fucked him
did.
up, fucked him up.
He's stupid. If
It's
you're
very
listening to this,
exciting.
fuck you, man.
Yeah, that one
suck,
guy.
dude.
I wish I remembered his name.
I do.
His name was Barack Obama.
What was his name?
Loser.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Loser 17. What not a good
See,
name
this is
for
where
him
the
to pick
tourists
out.
go.
Yeah, it was
Loser
dumb.
17.
Dumb choice for a name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. At least
Very
be
low
loser
self-confidence.
69.
Yeah, loser 69. You
Loser
got it.
Very
420.
low self-confidence on that guy.
Yeah.
Or gal.
Believe in yourself.
I have an awful name on my my username.
Yeah, what was
is
yours?
Toot Gun.
Oh, is that? I just kept
Why?
seeing that word up there. What does
I
that
don't
mean?
know. I don't.
What happened?
I don't know. I remember, I think I had a PS3 that I put my kid on, and I paid for something, and he came up with it, and I made it him, and then somehow maybe it transferred to me. I can't get rid of it. It's tied to my email. They don't let you change it. And I play with, like, grown-ups, which is a weird thing that I play with grown-ups, but, like, friends of mine, and they're like, come on, Toot. Let's go over here, Toot. I'm like, call me Gun. I don't like Toot's a weird thing. Just don't sit there and call me Toot the whole game.
Yeah.
That's weird.
That's great.
But yeah, I don't know. We've been having some fun. We've been having some parties. We had drinks last night.
Oh boy, did we!
Yeah, we had a few. We had a lot of comic talk, which is my favorite. It gets old, but it's also great, right?
It gets old for probably people who aren't comedians.
Yes, that's
that I could
true.
talk about.
And it gets old if
comedy
you're
forever.
talking to people, I guess, that you don't like about comedy for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, or they're asking you questions that are like, I don't want to talk about your set.
Yeah.
They're like, so what'd you think about this joke I'm doing? I'm like, I don't know, man. Leave me alone.
I was thinking about how I needed to get a refill while you were telling that joke.
Did you see me crush?
That's the best.
That's a
guys.
good question.
So most of the people who listen to this obviously already know this is a party story podcast, and it's just partying in just the sense. And I take it a very loose term, partying. It's just having a good time, just hanging out. It could be like our video game parties we've been having. It could be last night. It could be just overall living life, doing whatever you want. Partying, and that's kind of how I consider it. And I always like to ask a few different questions.
Sure.
And we got to get into it because there's two of you, and we only have an hour ish, and that clock's not right. So
okay,
yeah, it's 6:30 based off of this clock we're looking at, and it's doesn't matter. There's no time in podcasts. Yeah, that's correct.
Everyone does.
So let's talk about this. Where did you guys both grow up? Let's start with Dave. We'll go to you after that.
Perfect.
Where did you grow up? What was your introduction to partying, however you want to take it?
Well, I was a Navy kid. I moved around a lot, but then when I was in 8th grade, we moved to Orange County, New York, which is like an hour north of New York City on the Jersey border. And I was like, I was a pretty square kid for a while as far as partying and stuff goes. So like most of high school, the partying for me was going to punk shows, and that was like I had like.
Were you straight edge, like a straight edge, or not really, but like hung out with straight edge kids? So
No, I really also my school was real like. I don't want to say rural redneck, that kind of thing. I graduated with 80 other kids. There was no punk presence in my school at all. So I just had my one friend, Bobby, I went to high school with, and we went to all these shows together. And we would like over time made friends with kids who went to other schools, but it was really just the two of us, and we didn't really get fucked up. So we were straight edge by default, but didn't claim it. I never said it. Though I do remember I was very kind of up my ass about it. No, I wasn't, but I did dislike it. And I remember the first time my friends took mushrooms, I showed up. I used to hang out with this group of goth kids in this neighboring town, Washingtonville. They were the coolest. And we would go to shows and then go hang out at their house in their one parents' basement. And they would get fucked up, and I wouldn't really, but whatever. And then I showed up, and they were taking mushrooms once, and I was like, as sort of like this is gross statement, I went outside and sat on the car like a dick. And like
for what, 7 hours?
I think
being on mushrooms is such like a volatile state.
Absolutely.
Where like you probably fucked them up. They're like, Dave's mad at us. Oh my god, are we bad?
I don't think so. I think that they were all pretty like, he's being a real baby right now. And I actually don't really remember what happened after that. I might have eventually just gone in and been like, what am I doing? Or I might have left. But either way, like, it wasn't that much later that I took mushrooms and acid and everything else. So I don't really know what the hell I was doing. But when I
was young, I was the same way about marijuana. I don't know why.
I was like that for a while, too.
I would drink, but I had a hard stance on marijuana where I was literally like, my friends who smoke, I'd be like, gross, man.
Dude.
You do that shit?
Oh, boy.
I don't know why.
It was
That's
a slow
weird.
progression for me.
Ugh.
I was like that with weed. I remember being like that with weed with a friend when I was in 10th grade. And then I smoked weed in 11th grade for the first time, I think. Maybe. Yeah, no, it was 11th grade because there was this kid who was 2 years older than me. and his name was Mike Haug, and I like saying his name because I want to find him. Mike
Haug.
Haug, Haug.
I'm sure he's listening.
If you're out there, I love you, man. I miss you. I haven't seen him, but he was 2 years older than me, and he always had my back at school, and he's the one who got me into like NoFX and shit. And we had never gotten high. I'd never gone to Warped Tour, and me and like 3 of my buddies, he took us to Warped Tour. He drove, and he rolled us all joints. And I remember getting so high on the drive to Warped Tour that I was like making a wave with my hand out the window and being like, whoa, dude. He stopped at a gas station. I must have bought like 7 boxes of Cheez-Its. And then we went in and we watched Dropkick
What year
Murphys,
was this?
you know?
What kind of Warped Tour were we looking at?
That was
been very. It's every year is so crazy different now, and this year's the last one.
I know,
Which
ever.
is interesting, and the lineup's okay.
Right.
But I kind of want to go just because it's the last one, and I feel like I grew up off of it.
Right.
That's my opinion, anyways. I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough for me because I did 1 year Warped Tour had a stand-up tent, and I was on the tour, which is like, dude.
That's awesome.
Dude, yeah, it made my life to be booked on it, and then I was on it, and I was like, oh, this is a nightmare.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, dude. And there
Yeah.
are a bunch of reasons for that I won't. It doesn't matter. We should have fun. But there are also some great things about it. One thing is, that band Pup? They were one of my favorite bands starting on the tour, and then I met them, and we hung out the whole time, and now they're like very good friends of mine, and I would never have made those friends had I not done the tour. So it's like, it's definitely great for that. But it's like, it's not, I don't know. There was one dude on my bus who was such a piece of shit that he like ruined the whole trip for me, basically. And that's why I'm not going to get into detail on that. Who cares? But also the lineup that year sucked. And I think like people said it was especially bad. It was all really, really awful, like metalcore I had never heard of.
Yeah.
Bro metal. And just like, oh, God. I don't even know how to, like, dudes just doing metalcore but being like, yeah, pull out your tits or whatever. I'm just like, fuck this, man. Yeah. So I'd go watch Pup, and 5 people would watch them. And I think that's where Warped Tour went. That's what the kids who like Warped Tour are into. So they're doing the last one, and I don't know what the lineup is, but they probably...
They got some throwbacks.
But then the rest of it has to be what the kids like,
for
right?
sure. Because even it's the last one, there's a good chance I won't go. I want to go, but I know that it's gonna be hot and outside and in the summer, and we're in Houston, and that sounds awful. I don't want anything to do with that, really.
Yeah.
Especially when I say those things, and I'm like, oh yeah, and I'm not going, but I kind of want to go.
Dude, I know. I looked forward to it all year, every year. Like, I
was a
know
big
what you're
thing
feeling
when you're a kid.
Dude.
If you look around, so we're in my office right now. These 2 posters right here. This is my favorite Warped Tour I ever went to. It was probably like 2003, which is a pretty later Warped Tour, but it's my favorite one. It's Death by Stereo and the Deviates. I think Andrew WK was on it that year.
Yeah.
NoFX was on it that year. I think Alkaline Trio was on it that year.
Oh,
There's
wow.
just like all these like bands that I grew up loving
Yeah.
were on it. And then I think that's also the last year I remember loving it more than anything else. Like thinking like that was it. And it was also funny to me because now I'm, being in the industry of entertainment and all that stuff is, I always thought in my head is if you were a band that was on the Warped Tour, like you made it. Like that was it.
Totally.
When I was young, that's what I was like. These guys are rock stars. They're famous. This is it. You made it.
Dude, I remember
And now I'm like, damn. When you find out the truth about it, you're like, this sucks. I feel it almost like tears apart some of the ideas that I had as a kid that I thought was beautiful and magic, and like these guys are my idols and they were rock stars. And then I'm like, fuck, man, they're just trying to make it. That's all they're doing,
Really get to peek behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Ruins the mystique.
I remember it. Like, it was either the 99 or 2000 Warped Tour. I was standing by the fence. I also went to the Randall's Island one, the New York City one. And I was standing by the fence that, blocked in the whole fest with my friends, and these 2 guys came up to the fence, and they were like, hey, can we have your wristbands? And we were like, no. And fuck no, dude. And what if we need them?
Yeah.
And they were like, come on, man, we're on the festival, but they fucked up, and they can't get us the thing, and our set is soon. And we were like, what? Yeah, they like lost their stuff. And we were like, okay, we'll do that if you just like give us your record. And they were like, oh no, because they were like, come on, we're on Drive-Thru Records, and we were like, bullshit, no, you're not.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, we are, dude. And they
What
were
was
fine.
the band
Give
name?
us your record. They handed us the record, and it said Drive-Thru on the back, and we were like, okay.
What was the band name?
It was something corporate, and I had
That's
never heard of
crazy.
them.
I
Yeah.
loved that band.
Yeah, totally.
I loved it. I've seen them a lot. And then they were in that Jack's Mannequin. It's really, the whole thing is all Andrew McMahon. And now he's blowing up on the pop charts.
Is he?
He is. He's got like all these. It's like him on piano, some digital stuff. It's just really good stuff. And he's just a fucking sweetheart. And his story's so good. Have you ever seen that his documentary? You gotta watch it. He got cancer
Whoa.
So he had cancer where he had like a 50% shot to live when he was in something corporate. And then he started Jack's Mannequin, wrote the entire like first album while he was like sick with cancer and not sure if he was gonna make it.
Whoa.
And then he just got better, and he was touring. Like he passed out one day on tour, and they went to the hospital, and they're like, "You have cancer, and you might die."
Whoa.
And it's a really cool thing. And he does this foundation. I think it's called the Jack Foundation. And it just does a lot of good stuff for cancer research and different things. Anyways, I really love that guy. I just I've never I met him one time very briefly, but like in a line like after a show with like I was the only guy. There was like 100 girls, and I'm just like waiting there, like towering above everybody by 1.5 feet. And I was like, "Hey man, I love you so much, and I want to buy you a Rolling Rock. I know you like those because I looked it up."
Yeah.
So we did
adorable.
We drank a Rolling Rock together. We did a shot of whiskey, and then he's actually my aunt, who's very important to me, passed away of cancer, and I watched that documentary right around the same time that all happened, and it was just like a really good, like it was a thing that made me bond to the music more than when I just first liked it anyways. You know?
Sure.
Yeah, totally.
Plus he puts on a great show. It's always been a good
I should
show.
also say, by the way, I don't want to make it sound like there aren't perks of being on Warped Tour, by the way,
Yeah.
because there was so much that would, dude, I got to just being there, first of all, and being on and thinking about how I was a kid, it's just like, oh my God. My aspirations in comedy are just to do the things that I thought was cool when I was 14. I
Yeah,
got to
of course.
stand on the back of the stage while Wonder Years was playing to like fucking 10,000 people,
Yeah.
you know? And with Pup, who I love, and a bunch of other bands. Dude, I stood on stage 3 or 4 different times right at the back while Riff Raff was performing.
That's great.
And that alone is so silly.
Of course.
Riff
man.
Raff, dude, no one hates Warped Tour more than Riff Raff, for sure. He
Yeah.
he didn't even, he had a 30-minute set, and the first 15 minutes he wouldn't even come out. He just had like 5 hype men
Of
throwing
course,
T-shirts into the
yeah.
crowd. He missed a date. He just didn't do the New York City
Yeah,
date.
he was. Well, hip hop in general is just kind of. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like in general, it's just like I've always felt bad. Like just audiences just get shitty. If you're a hip hop fan, you go and you wait at a concert for like 5 hours sometimes, and then
Yeah.
finally they come on and they do their songs a lot of times to the CD of their song, not even just backing tracks, just their CD playing
Over
and
their
over
own
their
words.
own lyrics. They're just like backing themselves up, and they do half a song and then they move on. And it's really, and it's unfortunate. Then there's not. I don't want to say hip hop all of it, because it's
Yeah.
definitely not that way. There are a lot of people that like kill it and do it really well. But I've seen Riff Raff in particular put on the most garbage show in the whole world. And I'm
Wow.
like, this is embarrassing. And I'm not a fan. I came because you're a goofball and I wanted to see it, but you just made me less of a not, I made
Yeah.
it
Less
worse.
of a not fan.
Yeah. You made it worse. I don't know. That's crazy, man. Let's talk to let's
do it.
switch out. We got a lot
Sure.
more to cover, and I feel like we could talk about bands all day and
Yep.
different things like that. So, where did you grow up, man?
I grew up in Denver. I guess more specifically, right outside of Denver, in the little suburbs of Denver, Broomfield, Colorado, specifically. And for whatever reason, we partied hard, starting young.
Small
Like,
town, yeah.
yeah.
What age? What was the? I had my first drink at 13.
Let's see, drink wise, how old are you in 7th grade?
12?
Yeah.
13?
12,
Somewhere-
13.
12, 13, right around there.
somewhere
Yeah,
in there, and that's also when I smoked weed for the first time.
How did that happen? Like, how did that come about? What made you start? Was it like your friends, or were you just
my little group of? I had like 3 other dudes that.
Who was the guy who was like, "Hey, you ever heard about weed?"
Well, for drinking, it was Nathan. He was like, somehow he got some, and we drank a bunch of Jack Daniels the first time that we
Nice.
drank.
That's a pretty good first drink.
It was pretty good.
The first drink I ever had was I just assumed alcohol was alcohol,
Yeah.
and my mom had a liquor cabinet, and I just took a little bit out of each one and I mixed it with cranberry juice.
way.
I didn't know, and I was like,
Yeah,
alcohol's alcohol.
Sure.
That's it. That's all you do.
I'm
And
sure
so-
it tasted fine. 'cause
No,
you didn't
it
know.
was. I remember the taste still, and that's not a good thing.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
But Jack Daniels, that's a great
Yeah, it was
first
great. You're just just drinking it out of the bottle, having
Where?
no idea.
Where were you at?
At my other friend's house, Matthew, Nathan, and Rich were like and myself. It was 4 of us all the time, and so Nathan.
You got
was
your
the one-
crew. That's
Yeah.
everyone had their crew.
We definitely had
that's
a
such
crew.
a good.
And then Rich, it was actually Rich's cousin that got us weed. But the same grew pretty much for the first time all smoked weed together. Except for Matthew. Matthew never did anything because he was smart and was like, I'm going to wait because I'm really good at soccer and I'm going to...
Did he?
Yeah, he was very good.
What
And
did he go to college in soccer?
He got a full ride scholarship to Duke for...
Good for him, man.
College or for soccer and academics. And he was like, I don't want to do it. And just went and traveled around and stuff.
Wow.
He's the coolest person.
So he could have smoked weed the whole time.
Could have. He blew it. What an idiot.
Did you ever hear myths when you guys were like kids of like the first time you ever smoked weed? Like they're like, well, the first time you do it, you don't get high.
Yeah.
Do you remember that myth? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Which is not. I don't know where that came from.
I had friends that happened to.
A lot of people don't
Yeah.
get high their first time because they.
Do you think they just don't know they're high?
I
think
they
it's
don't
because
know how
the-
to smoke.
Yeah, a lot of people don't inhale, and I also think that I mean the first weed I smoked and the only weed I smoked for a while was swag as fuck. It was like
Yeah.
brown and terrible, and yeah, so I think like maybe a lot of people don't inhale entirely, and then it's really weak weed, so
Mhm.
maybe they don't even recognize the
The-
feeling.
yeah. Yeah.
Not me, man. I got stoned as fuck.
Dude, yeah, I
It
got
was the
high.
best. It changed my life. I was like, I'm doing this forever.
Yeah.
And I have. Pretty
That's
much.
fun. The first bag that the first time I ever tried is I bought it off of these 2 girls. They were sisters. They lived like a mile from me, and we were like close. And like anytime I had a friend over, like they would both come over, and we would like make out. You know, it was like paired off. You know what I mean? We lived in the country, so like they were my closest neighbor.
Yep.
And it just that's what happened.
Perfect.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we would all hang out, and then they sold us weed, and me and my friend we went and smoked it in a rundown pickup truck we found in the woods.
Nice.
And then we're like, am I high? Are you high? And we're like, I think I'm high. We don't know. And then we found out that they sold us a bag of oregano.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
And we just smoked it like idiots. And we're like, our throats hurt.
That must be
Wow.
what being high is.
Yeah.
Your throat hurts real bad.
Oh,
Yeah, we
man.
smoked because we didn't know what we were doing. We had a big corncob pipe that who knows where the fuck that came from.
Corncob pipe.
Yeah,
I had one
old
of those.
school
Yeah.
classic, and we just put a whole eighth in it because we didn't know what we were doing and smoked it all.
A whole eighth?
A whole eighth.
That's
it was
a lot.
Big ass
Of what
score.
kind of weed? Was it
who
like
knows?
swag? Was it brown?
No, it was definitely better than that. Colorado has always been good for weed, so
Yeah.
You don't
even
say.
when you got like shitty weed, it was still pretty good. I think
Okay.
in
Yeah.
comparison to a lot of places.
Upstate New York had a lot of swag.
Dude, me
That's-
too. Yeah.
That's I didn't know. Like you had to know someone to get good weed when you were a kid.
I would hear
Yeah.
tell
You
of
know?
G13 and stuff like that. Just like Kush
Yeah.
or Kind Bud.
I used to always hear about this stuff called Durban poison.
Oh yeah.
Durban
And-
poison.
I know. And then
Yeah.
finally my friend showed up with it one day. He's like, guys, I got this Durban poison. And I've been hearing about it since I was like 15.
Wow.
And then I was 19. So like 4 years later, he's like, I got it. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
And then we sat around and we smoked and we just sat there and did nothing the rest of the day.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
it lived up to the name, I guess. I don't know.
By the time I was like a freshman in high school, we were going up to Boulder because it was Broomfield is like halfway between Denver and Boulder. which are kind of two pretty big cities, and Boulder is where the University of Colorado is. So we would go up there and just buy weed, like go into the dorms and buy weed off of college kids when we were freshmen of like good, like really good kind bud or whatever. And then we
Kind
could
bud.
sell it to other dumb high schoolers for
Yeah.
like twice as much as we bought
Oh,
it
you
for.
were selling.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man,
We
that's.
started early. We partied hard.
I was too scared to ever get into that. I had friends that did it, but I still am. I don't
Yeah.
like to do like.
Yeah.
I don't like to do illegal. I smoke some weed, but that's very hardly illegal at this point.
Sure.
We all know that. And other than like selling, that would scare the shit out.
I
of
did in college. I did a lot of stuff in college, and I think it was because I felt this like subconscious safety blanket because I was in college. But I was literally like I would get fronted ounces from a dude and then sell eighths and dubs off of that. And I realized after a little, as a good friend of mine, that he had a whole net. He was running like a massive business, and I was one of his
You're just part
lackeys.
of it.
And it was funny because we were buds, but then he got more and more like sort of gangster about it as he got more money and had more clients and more
Yeah.
lower dealers. And there was this, after a certain point, he would come over to my house and be like, "So what's up, bro? How'd we do this week?" You know, instead of just being like, "Hey man, how are you?" and hanging out, and you're like,
Oh,
like
no.
look at paintings and be like, "What's this, dude? This is Dolly." Anyway, how'd we fucking do this week, dude?
That's funny.
And yeah, that was when I stopped. I was
never-
like, this guy's gonna kill
I
me.
never sold. But in a sense, though, when I was in college, I had a friend that was like our guy that I would buy weed off of, and he
Mhm.
showed up, and then he used to just come over all the time, and he used to do a lot of ecstasy, and he became one of my best friends. But we used to pick on me and my roommate all the time. He had really good weed, but he would come over and he's like, "Bro, I did these like purple triangles last night. I'm looking fried," and we'd always just make up names for pills. And when he came over, we're
That's
like,
great.
"Oh, I did some." Giant pyramids. I don't know anything. I don't know. I'm trying to come
I
up
mean,
with
it's
stuff.
like not really that inaccurate.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
And but he would always do that, and then and we would just buy weed off him, and he'd smoke us out, and it was a lot of fun. And then eventually he started. He's like, "Hey man, do you care if I just like leave you like a bunch of bags, and then I just tell people to come to your house and grab it, and I'll just give you like a bag or two." And so in that sense, I guess I did sell.
Wow.
Like, he did just
Yeah.
send people over to get it from me.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I sold up until probably like 27, and then I was like, I should stop doing this.
Yeah.
How long had you been doing comedy at that point?
Like 3 years.
Yeah.
I feel like doing
that's
comedy would
mostly
make it
why I
easier
stopped.
for you, though.
Yeah,
Well,
but then you have more to lose, I
Exactly.
think. Yeah.
I was like, I found something I actually want to do now. I should like take this more seriously.
Yeah.
And if I get in trouble for this, it would be like so dumb now. I basically, at that point, I was just selling it so that I could smoke for free.
Yeah.
So it was like, I'm a adult now. I can just buy it. And by
Mm.
that point, it was about to be legal in Denver also, so it made even less sense to sell it.
Yeah.
Do you have I feel like you definitely had someone like this in your life at some point. Maybe a bunch, since it seems anyway. There was one guy at one point when I was in college where like different friends started telling me about this guy. I don't remember his name, but I think it was like Zed or like
Zed?
Neo or something. And like, dude, I was just at Zed's house. Dude, he has like a jar just filled with ecstasy, dude. And if you go and hang out with him, he just takes pills out of the jar and gives them to you just because you're hanging out. I was like,
That's funny.
okay. And I eventually I went and hung out at his house, and he was just like, he was just a dude who was completely zonked from ecstasy and nitrous, who just didn't know what was going on. So everybody
Nitrous.
stole shit
I
from
forgot
him.
about that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But like, do you know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
Like these magician drug people.
Yeah, his name was Travis Dodado. everybody called him the moldy dildo.
the moldy,
moldy
dildo.
dildo.
How
Yeah,
does
just-
someone? Do you know the origin?
Well, his last name is Dodado, and it sounded close enough to moldy dildo, I guess. But that's
Wow.
how it ended up
Doesn't
being.
really,
I
though.
know.
It doesn't. Also,
I know.
Dodado is an easy thing to just say
It's a
and make
cool
fun of
name.
someone.
The
Yeah.
Dado.
Travis
Oh.
Dodado. I don't know what he's doing. I haven't even thought about that name in forever. But there was a while where it was like, oh, you want to party? You should hang out with Travis. Like, he was like the first kid in our like, I don't know, age group or whatever that was like going to raves and doing
Oh,
all
yeah.
of that shit. So he got into like drugs before everybody else, and then we started like buying acid from him. selling to other people. It was a good time.
Yeah.
They were right. Travis was bad.
Wonder what Travis Dodato's up to
I hope
right at this moment.
I hope he's doing well.
The
I haven't thought about
musty
that name in-
dildo is. I think he's in jail.
I have a feeling he's not doing well.
He could be.
Just a thought.
People get
Yeah.
their lives together, man.
I don't know, man. Yeah,
I
the
did.
guy that got me into harder drugs, or like the guy who got my friends into it, who then got me into it, was this dude in California who didn't go to the college I went to, but he hung out with everyone. And he would literally just show up with like a 2-pound bag of mushrooms and then just like put it on pizza and was just
Put
I
it
did
on
ev-
pizza.
He was like,
Yeah.
and he'd say shit like, "You guys want a slice of mushroom pizza?" Yeah. And he got me into every hard drug. He got me into going to raves and shit like that. But one day, I remember this as a senior in college. He snapped. We were like hanging out, and he flipped out and went for like a 20-mile walk just through LA, and just thinking. And I think he had just like taken too much acid or whatever, and it
Yeah.
like snapped something. And after that moment, he quit drugs entirely, including tobacco and liquor. He only smokes weed. Went back to college and straight up became a rocket scientist, and that's what he does
wild.
now. Yeah,
Wow.
dude.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think I
What
don't.
the
I don't
heck he's
know.
doing.
I don't
Travis.
always think like when you're young, getting into drugs or whatever we did as a kid, it's not necessarily a bad thing because I'm a firm believer in this, and there's been so many cases where I know that like I have friends that were straight edge or just didn't do anything in high school, and they never got really adapted to like, oh hey, here's what it's like to have a beer with your friends,
Right.
and then in college, and then even some after college, decided one day, hey, I'm gonna get drunk and start doing drugs, and I'm gonna do stuff, and then their life just goes crazy because they don't know how to
Yeah.
handle it. Because we learn, like, it's acceptable as a kid when you have your first beer and you're 15 years old to pretend you're more drunk than you are, to
Right.
fall and to look
Yeah.
stupid in front of your friends. And we get over it, and the next week we're just like, oh, I'm getting used to this now. I kind of know
Yeah.
what it's like. But when you're 27 and you're at a bar and you get drunk and you're pissing on the bar because you don't know how to handle any of
Yeah.
this, that's not acceptable.
The funniest
Yeah.
thing in the world is when a straight edge hardcore kid decides to.
And he has tattoos.
Yeah,
He's
dude.
got the
Man, my college girlfriend, right before I got with her, she hooked up with this dude who I knew who had like fallen off the wagon over Christmas break. And they were like in her dorm room hooking up, and she didn't have a condom. And she was just like, yeah, so I don't know. You just have to go because we can't hook up. And he was like, oh, come on. And he like so drunk and was like, no, we can. And like didn't realize he was being a piece of
douche.
shit. Yeah. And he literally was like, oh, okay, wait. Do you have a rubber band? I'll just get a CVS bag.
Wow.
And she was like, get out, dude.
wow.
Yeah.
That wasn't romantic enough, huh?
No.
Oh man, should have
didn't
gone
feel
for a
wanted.
Wegmans bag. Do you know? Is that a
Piggly Wiggly.
Yeah, Piggly Wiggly. Wegmans. Did you have Wegmans?
I've
in
been to one,
upstate?
but I don't remember
Oh.
where.
Yeah, that was a very upstate New York reference I made that is just very central to Rochester. So nobody's going to hear or know anything.
I think I
about
went and
that.
got a coffee there when we were in New Hampshire on this tour.
There you go. Yeah, that
Sure.
was nice. All right, so I got two other questions I ask everyone. We are running out of time. We might actually have to pause this, do a show, and then maybe we can end it.
Oh,
after
sure.
that. I
That
think that
makes
might be the
sense.
best thing.
I
don't
can
know.
I can also run out and you could finish with Chris because I'm up first on the show.
Yeah, I do. Right now we're good. So let's just keep it going.
Yeah.
And then and I'll edit this out, or I probably won't. I'm lazy.
Nah,
and
keep it
I
in,
think this
dude.
is
Whatever
good.
you want.
We're gonna figure it out, and if
This
there's
is
a
how the
pause and
sausage is.
we sound slightly more drunk,
Yeah.
then you guys know what happened. But all right, so I like to the first thing I like to talk about. Well, I guess second is what is the worst story with the worst party you've ever been to in your entire life for whatever reason? It could be anything. What is the worst time that you've ever had? We'll start with you, Chris. And
This one is oof. Off the top of my head, my first pick is the Montreal Comedy Festival. It was the dopest party that I've ever been to. Biggest, baddest, most expensive, coolest, best, without a doubt, party I've ever been to. And I had a terrible time the
yeah.
whole time. So I'm going to say that. It was the...
what happened? What made it so bad?
It was expectations that didn't meet up. It was all me. 100% of it was my fault. Just like most of the time that you have a bad time at a party. My fault. I wanted it to be. I expected that I was going to leave there famous, and I didn't. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but I left there just the same. Except for I partied too hard and pissed the bed one night.
Was this is a story you told me the other day?
Yeah.
Can we hear that? I mean, I feel like you
can
might be
tell the story.
leaving the good story part
Okay.
of this.
Well, sorry. I don't.
If you don't want to talk about it, we don't have to talk about it.
I don't
We've
mind.
already admitted it, though.
No, yeah, it's fine. I just don't want people to get the idea that that the Montreal Comedy Festival sucked. It didn't suck. Oh God. That was
I was trying to, without affecting anything on the podcast, get up and grab my phone, and I failed.
Yeah, you sure did.
Chris, go on.
Affected
I'm
everything
sorry.
on the
fine.
podcast. He forgot to unplug his headphones, which was great when it reached maximum length.
So I expected to go up there and like have be the belle of the ball, or not even expected, just hoped. And instead, I went up there and nobody. It's not that nobody gave a shit. I did fine, but nobody gave me the red carpet to Hollywood.
Yeah.
And that was such a disappointment for me. And I didn't plan on. I had no idea what I was getting into, basically. And I went about it 100% the wrong way and just decided to drink it away the first night. So I drank so hard, and I was staying with wonderful Rob Hayes. I don't know if everybody knows him. Very funny comedian out of Atlanta. Now
So
lives
funny.
in New York. Very
I haven't
funny.
met him.
He's hilarious. He
Looking forward to it now.
Just did the Tonight Show. He's fucking great. We were roommates, and I had never met him before. And so our first interaction really was at this festival. We barely hung out, and then we got back that first night, and I was so drunk that face down, laying wide awake, I was like, I'm gonna piss the bed, and then did. I couldn't move. I didn't want to move. I don't remember exactly what was happening. I think it was that I felt like if I stood up, I was gonna puke, so I just decided to stay laying there.
How old were you
and
at the
piss.
time?
This was only 2 or 3 years ago.
And you're how old now?
33, I think, is when I was. Maybe 32.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe 32. So, and also I should mention, I don't really drink anymore. I used to drink a lot, like, when I was a teenager and things.
Yeah.
And then I really got out of that and just realized that I only like smoking weed. So this was a whole other thing. And when I'm, like, panic drinking, which is what I was doing, I have no control. And so I pissed the bed and decided not to tell Rob because that would be embarrassing since I don't really know him. I just hoped he wouldn't notice. And he didn't. Or maybe he did, but it was sweet enough not to say anything because we shared the room for another 3 days.
But then you did tell him.
Years later.
Yeah.
Yeah, in over a phone call.
Yeah,
Like
which
6
is
months
great.
ago,
This is my
right?
favorite part of this story.
Yeah. Third party, I was hanging out with one of his very good friends, Caleb Sinan, who is now one of my
Oh, I
good
love
friends.
Caleb.
Yeah, he's
Caleb's
so funny.
great. Very funny.
The
We had him
best.
on a festival years
Such a sweet,
ago.
positive man.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
Love
Very
him.
sweet man.
And he loves to entertain, loves to have people over at his house, so that's what we were doing.
Also from Atlanta, originally.
Also from Atlanta.
Yes.
Him and Rob, good friends. And I relayed this story, and he was like, what the fuck? You haven't told Rob? And I was like, no, I don't really know him that well. And he was like, let's tell him right now. And so we called him up, and he was like, hey, man, you remember Chris? And he was like, yeah. And he's like, he pissed the bed in Montreal. And Rob was like, all right.
I
And he was
love
like,
it.
okay, well, see you later. And
I
that
love
was pretty
it.
much it.
I just love the idea of you randomly calling. He's like, yeah, I kind of remember that guy. Also, I also imagine
Yeah.
him at dinner with friends.
I'm sure
takes
he
the
was doing
call,
something.
And then everyone's like, what was that all about? And then he's like, this guy called to tell me I pissed the bed?
Yeah, he pissed the bed 2 years ago in a room that we shared for a couple of days. So
That's it.
that's it. He seems a cool guy.
Just one of those calls.
Yeah.
You know.
Just a classic. Did he apologize? No.
No, he just wanted me to know.
Yeah. That was pretty much it.
That's great. I love it.
So yeah, I'd put that one in the top. I mean, there's been other parties who have obvious like, oh, that was a shitty party.
Yeah.
That one was for me is
As
more of
I think it's okay though. I think
Yeah.
I
It's a
know
different
it
kind of
sounds
shitty
awful,
party for me.
but I think most people throughout their life as an adult pee their pants one time.
Totally.
Drunk.
Oh,
I
at
definitely I did it.
least.
I did it one time. I had just moved back to New York for a very brief amount of time. My friends threw me a coming home party. I saw my old friends I hadn't seen in a long time. We're drinking way too much. I saw my old girlfriend. She was there. We were like connecting again. And then we go up to my room and we're laying in bed and I'm so drunk. And so is she. She's very drunk. We tried to do some stuff. And we both gave up. We're like, we were just too drunk to even try. Like, we fell down trying to, like, make out and stuff. It just wasn't going well. We're like, let's just lay down. And then I'm laying next to her. I'm like, oh, my God, I have to pee so bad. And she's like, just go. Obviously, she meant get up out of the bed and go to the bathroom.
Wow.
And I was so drunk. I was like, okay. And I just peed.
Yes.
And, it gets worse because she goes, oh, my God, are you pissing the bed right now? And I go, what? And then we went to sleep.
What?
We just went to sleep.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh,
man.
it was awful. She was equally as drunk.
Thank
And
God.
yeah,
Obviously, she would have
And-
gotten up. Otherwise, I'm
yeah.
pretty sure.
we did not date again.
Sure.
No way.
So, yeah, right.
Yeah.
It was-
Probably saved you a couple of years.
Yeah,
in
I
your
think
life.
so. I
That's
think
good.
so. I usually get in relationships. I go like a 2 or 3 year thing, and then I'm like, oh, I think we've had enough of each other.
I'm trying to think if I've peed my pants from drunkenness recently. I have shit my pants on stage doing stand up. You ever do that?
Let's hear this. This sounds like a good worst party.
Yeah. I shit my pants on stage at the Atlanta Improv, which doesn't exist anymore.
They won't book them anymore.
Yeah, they won't book me.
They had to shut down the whole fucking club.
No, matter of fact, it was my first time featuring there, and they did have me back to feature there again because they don't.
Did they find out though? Did they know?
I told them. Yeah, well,
it was a pity
Did you
booking.
announce it
The
when you were
second
on
was a
stage?
Pity booking.
yeah. So what happened was I was sick. I was on tour. I think it was my first tour, and I was on tour. They booked me. Mike Albanese was the booker of features there, who's a fucking super funny comic in New York now, and he booked me at the 8 p.m. show. I think Friday. There weren't that many people there. There were probably 15 people total in the room, and they had like pushed them up, like they were all sitting right in front of the stage. And I had 20 minutes, I think, and I was like walking back and forth. And I like farted at one point during the set, and I was like, "Oh, I think and yeah, that's a shart, but it was like I think like a big
shit.
ball of shit flew out of my butt into the back of my pants, and I was like not
no.
entirely sure.
How
but
far were you into your set?
5 minutes.
Oh,
and I
no,
was
and
like,
you were doing 20 or 30.
20.
Oh, at least you weren't doing 30.
No shit. And yeah. Luckily they were like guest sets or something, and I was like, it probably won't mean anything, but I've got to do my time, and so I was like, slowly walking back and forth on stage doing my jokes, and then by minute like 15 into my set, the woman, every time I would turn left to walk, the woman at the very far right would just burst out laughing, and she and her friends would giggle. And I was like, okay, there's a stain in my pants for sure. And so I got off stage. I was like, thank you. And I go into the bathroom, and sure enough, there was a huge stain.
No.
And what's funny is I was so embarrassed about that. I lied to Mike, the booker, who I think might have been hosting there too that weekend. And I was like, I just got to run back to my hotel. And like, I don't know. I sweat through my shirt. I got to change my shirt. And he was like, okay, dude, I don't give a shit.
All right,
And
I see the shit on your pants. Maybe while you're there, change your pants.
And what's so funny is that I like went back to the hotel and I changed my pants, and I was like trying to be all coy off stage to him. But then the first thing I said on stage during my feature set of the 10 p.m. show was like, "How you guys doing? I shit my pants at the early show," and I
Wow.
just talked about that for a few minutes, and we all had a real good time laughing about it. So they definitely know. But yeah, what a nightmare.
That's the worst party
That's
for
fun.
sure.
That is very bad. That's never happened to me on stage. I have had that feeling where I was like, I'm on stage, and all of a sudden my stomach's like, whoa, 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 and I was like, you have to shit right now.
Get outta here now.
I don't mean like now, like soon. I mean like you have 30 seconds.
Mhm.
And I'm like, all right, guys, I gotta go.
Yeah.
And then get off. Like they're like, why'd you get off early? I was like, I don't know. What? I saw the light.
Was I early? I thought I was. Ooh. I thought I did. Literally, I was just on time.
Yeah. Yeah, but I've never done the full.
Well,
that
Yeah.
sucks.
Me either.
man,
I don't know if I could
You guys will
recover
get there.
from
I
that.
one
honestly
day.
don't- I think you're pretty. There's probably very few people who have.
who have shit their
actually.
pants
I
on
don't
stage.
think there's a
I
lot.
think so too. You think there's a lot?
Maybe. I'll tell you this is I do feel every day that I have the potential to shit my pants.
Every day?
Every day.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like every day I'm like, it could happen. Is today the day? I don't know. Especially when I'm
How?
like, yeah. I
You're
don't
like
know.
always ready to shit, you're saying?
I think I'm saying
You wear a diaper? is what you're
sometimes
saying?
I just need to shit right away. And if on the way here we're stuck in traffic, there if
Did you take a shit?
no, but if the right feeling happened, which happens probably almost once a day, during that 25 minutes we were stuck in traffic, that was it.
So you have a lot of imminent shits, like
do.
immediate shits.
Yeah, I think it's the late nights, the drinking, and then the Papa Burger that we
Totally.
the worst food ever. If you are from Houston, don't go to Papa Burger. It sounds like a good idea, but their guacamole salad has pickles on it, and it's very
That's
confusing.
really all you need to say about it.
Exactly.
Why is there even guacamole salad at all on any menu?
A wonderful question.
What's
Oh,
up, buddy?
Zahid
Hey,
Deputy
you want to
just
say
walked
hi
in the
real
room.
quick? Just say hi.
What's up, dog?
Are there people in there? Oh, all right.
Oh,
Let's just start. There you go.
all
Pretty
right.
good. We're starting in 10. I think we'll be done in about 15, and we have like 30 minutes before they go up. Oh, we're good.
Thanks, pal.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks
Awesome,
for the
man. Thank
update.
you so much.
We're gonna
You're the
see
man.
you in there.
I
You
like
look-
it.
You look much better today.
Oh,
Who
he
the
did look
fuck
bad
was
last
that?
night.
You look tired.
Yeah, he's tired.
I like it when people look tired.
I feel like I always look tired.
I feel like I've looked tired for the last couple days. For
I
sure.
just shit my pants.
Right now.
Yeah.
Should have asked to borrow Andrew's diaper.
Yeah.
That one.
I should
Totally.
get one. I don't. I really want to get one.
You should
That
start
would
a
be
band
weird.
called Imminent Shits.
I don't want to start a band. It
Yeah.
seems like a lot of work.
Fair enough.
I already feel like I got enough work.
You know enough drummers. Why is every comedian in Houston a fucking drummer?
It is weird.
It's
Me
crazy.
and Gabe, you know how I got into comedy is so I started booking comedy years ago, and prior to that, me and Gabe were in a band together.
Oh, really?
Gabe was the drummer of the band, and then I was booking all these comedy shows. So I started like diving into the Houston comedy scene. And me and Gabe, our band broke up, and we didn't stop talking. We weren't not friends or anything, but we just kind of didn't.
Yeah.
We just lost for like 2
Sure.
years. We probably just didn't really talk or know what was going on in each other's lives. And then one day, he was just at an open mic, and I saw him. And we reconnected, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm doing comedy." I was like, "I'm booking comedy. That's super weird." And then he got me real drunk and convinced me to go on stage one day, and then that's how I started comedy.
No
it's
way.
because of Gabe and a drummer.
Dude, I love
Wild.
Gabe.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I love Gabe.
Yeah.
Gabe's one of my best buddies in the whole world.
Thank God he plays drums.
He does. He's very good.
I know. He's very
Right?
good.
It's obnoxious. I don't like someone being good at multiple things. You get one, he gets comedy and drums. Pick one.
I'm with that.
I agree.
Yeah. It's not fair.
It's not fair. Alex Luchin, comic in New Orleans, makes amazing jerky, and he is making his living off his jerky. He just told me.
What?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, like I think it's sort of like scraping by stage still, but yeah, he makes amazing jerky, and he's fucking super funny. It's not fair.
I think it's great when like Emma has the honey. Have you ever had her honey?
Oh,
Emma
right.
Arnold has honey. She like sells it as merch almost, not as merch,
God.
but like she brings it with her on
Yeah.
tour. And I've tried it. It's great honey, and she
I
just
didn't know that.
she like has like beehives.
Dude.
Motherfucker.
That's
so
crazy.
cool.
Dave
It is
Stone
cool.
makes incredible barbecue.
Yeah.
Like incredible.
And what do? We just
Shit our pants.
we
shit and piss on
we
ourselves.
shit and piss. Oh, that's very embarrassing. I mean, I have a club, but whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I don't do
so-
anything.
Yeah,
I just shit and piss.
I
like it.
God damn, well, at least you're good at that, though,
Yeah.
Chris.
I am. I rarely do it to myself. You know?
Yeah. Other people force you to piss? Or
No,
people
I'm
piss
saying I
on
don't-
you?
I'm saying I don't.
It doesn't
I
happen
rarely
often.
pee into my pants.
Oh,
If that's your
Rarely
thing,
went to
I
my
think
parents.
you're good. If
Yeah,
it's your thing, let it just embrace it. There are dolls that had a whole run, like you know, of
pull me.
peeing and pooping. That was like a
Exactly.
thing. People would pay money
Yep,
for something that would piss and poop.
I would do it for free.
There was
Yeah.
a guy in my
I
high
do it
school.
anyway. I'll do it for free. You like cleaning up poop and pee? Fake poo and pee. Imagine how much
What
fun
is
it'll be
this?
if it's real poo and pee.
Oh, that's true.
Oh,
Clean up after me and pay me.
I think it's adorable and wonderful that you say poo and pee. I think that poo and pee is.
Why? What do you say?
I say shit and piss like a
Ugh.
fucking
Like a
grown up,
pervert?
like a pervert.
I'll tell
yeah.
you this: is
shit, piss, and I like, and
If
then I
I
fuck
took-
it. You ever pour piss on shit, then fuck it? Yeah,
Jesus
be a
Christ.
man.
if I took your voices, if I took your voice and I heard you just talk randomly, and I heard
Yeah.
you talk randomly, I could automatically tell that you say piss and shit.
Yeah.
You say poop and pee.
Absolutely.
It is.
I
They
think
are
if you-
crass words. Don't get me wrong. Piss
Also-
and shit are crazy sounding.
I feel like if you were just look at our faces, you might. If you had to say like which one.
Who says poo and pee?
Yeah, I feel like you'd be like the little one says poo and pee, and I'd say you're correct. Let's go poo and pee.
Let's go piss and shit.
Ugh.
It does sound bad. You're
It
right.
does.
But poo and pee doesn't sound great either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dump and tinkle. Say that. How about
No.
What are other good words? I
One
don't
and
know.
two.
that? 1 and 2. 1 and 2.
That's how I
Caca.
usually say it.
I-
Caca.
No,
Ugh.
that's I don't know. My
Yeah,
Australian
turds.
grandmother said that all the time.
Turds is pretty fun.
Turds.
Yeah.
Turds.
But no one says I turded myself. That's
No.
not a
No.
turd is a
Yeah,
fun
but
word.
Leaks
You know
and
what?
turds.
I love calling people turds.
Sure.
Like
Yeah,
that's I
you're
think
a
that's such a
turd.
good
Oh, yeah.
like when I dislike someone I'm like, man, that guy is a turd.
Full-blown
That is one of my
turd.
favorite ways to describe people.
It's
that I
totally
dislike.
innocuous, but also completely describes that
You
they're
get it.
lame. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Oh,
Totally.
Man, turd burglar. That's also another one I
Turd
throw out there.
burglar.
I haven't
Yeah.
told
I don't
anybody
know.
that in years.
Yeah, I don't think anyone has. I'm trying to keep it alive.
Somebody's gonna get called that tonight from the stage. You
Damn
better
right.
Believe
Turd,
it.
fucking
Yeah.
turd burglar.
Mm-hmm.
I always liked Scuzz Bucket ever since I saw Flight of the Navigator when I was a kid. I called people.
I don't remember. Which one was that?
Yeah, there was one character in that movie who was always calling people names. Yeah, I think it was Kevin Arnold's brother. Flight of the Navigator was like a kid
Vaguely remember.
goes into
it.
the woods and then he comes back out and it's like 20 years later or something and he's been missing the whole time but he hasn't aged and it turns out he was on like a spaceship
He got
with a
abducted.
tiny little alien guy that was really
Yeah.
cool and he had
Yeah.
traveled around and he was it
That's
was
pretty
fun,
cool.
dude.
It's good.
Cool movie.
Yeah, that sounds great. Sounds great, guys. Let's get
Rumble?
into the last. Yeah, let's rumble. Let's get into the last segment. I
Yes.
don't know the segment. Yeah, there is. I do break it up. I put commercials in.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
great.
Oh shit.
I don't really have it. I make them up. No
I
one's
love it.
sponsoring this show.
Great.
Not
That's
yet.
yeah. This one's definitely going to be sponsored by a diaper company,
Mhm.
obviously. At least this segment. Anyways, so the last question I like to ask is: we went over how'd you start partying? How was your worst party? Obviously, the next question would be: what was the best party, the best time you've ever had? And again, I just want to stress that it doesn't have to be a party. It can be just like that part of my life. That was a party. That was a time. That's we had so much fun that's the party. But it also can be the best party you want to, whatever you guys want.
Dude,
Alright?
I like immediately know what my answer is, and it was a party.
There you go.
And it was, man, because like, I guess I don't really, ever since I, kind of similar to you, Chris, ever since I started stand-up, I don't know. I got like I did a bunch of drugs, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to stop this entirely. And then ever since I got into stand-up, after doing it for a few years, I drink way less. So I don't really party that much. And like stand up and making things. Hey, dude, no worries. What's up, man? Stand up and making things and touring and stuff, that becomes the partying in life. But when I get to, and it's good, I guess my point is it's hard for it to be good when you're older. I always have things to do. It's hard for me to relax. It's hard for me to, I'm doing a show. I'm thinking about that. I just did a show. I'm thinking about that or whatever. I have some things to work on.
You have
But
bills, you just have everything.
Yeah.
There's more anxiety. You can't just enjoy and things. Also, you've done so many different things already
That I'm not
it's not
as excited.
magical.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I've been to a show before.
So I had this night where everything came together perfectly. It was so great. And I was on tour and I'd been having a tough tour. It was like a hard time in my life where I like later realized I was like super depressed and had to deal with it. But this one night in the middle of the tour, I showed up at the Savage Henry Comedy Festival, which is in Humboldt County, California, in Arcata and Eureka, and it's run by these guys who run Savage Henry Magazine, which is they're the best dudes. I love doing stand-up up there. I love them. So I show up and I see them, and they're great. And then so many of my friends are on the festival, and that's great. And then I do this show that's based out of Denver it's called like Comedy Revolver or something, where They
Comedy roulette.
comedy roulette, yeah, and they like everybody picks a number out of a hat, and the number you get pertains to some weird thing you have to
Crushing
do for
roulette.
your set. Crushing roulette, that's what it is.
Yep.
So one guy had to do a set with tennis balls thrown at him. One guy had to do a set with people heckling him, I think, and
I've done shows like that.
So I pulled drunk, and they gave me 5 shots of whiskey.
Oof.
5, and they were like, "You
That's
have
a
to drink
lot.
these in the next like 5 minutes." And I was like, "Well, first of all, I'll die if I do that." So I
Yeah.
threw 2 of them in the trash, and then I chugged 3 of them,
Which is
and,
enough to get you.
wasted.
Yeah.
Because I drank them immediately, and I was
Yeah.
going up in like 5 or 10 minutes. And so I went up, and I was in Humboldt. I had all this energy from the tour and stuff. And I don't get Humboldt. I'm not a weed culture guy. I smoke weed, but a lot of people there are like
That's
just
life.
a walking Bob Marley flag, you know?
Yeah.
And they just love Cottonmouth Kings and shit. So I just went on stage half drunk from that and just reamed them out for how dumb their culture is. And they loved it, and I loved it. They could feel I was kidding and stuff. And then I got way drunk. I became drunk mid-set, and everyone cheered. And I just had the best set of my life, riffing all of it, having so much fun, and became drunk while doing it. So I walked off stage having murdered and become drunk while murdering. So I was just like the happiest drunk I've ever been in my life. And then we went to the after party for the festival, and they had rented out this Airbnb that used to be like a biscuit factory.
Yeah.
That's like a 3-floor place with a rooftop with like different room. They had like probably 25, 30 beds in there, and all of us who were visiting for the festival were staying there. And they threw like what ended up being basically a can't hardly wait party, dude. It was just like, I can't even tell you, like people. I was like DJing off a phone for a while, and then I just like came to and looked around. I was like, "Whoa!" And there were people doing mushrooms over there, and people doing coke over there, and I didn't do any of that because I'm almost, I don't do drugs anymore. But I'm just like, and then you know, it was like hanging out where the Foot Clan lives, and everyone's just doing
Skateboard
everything,
ramps everywhere.
and I'm
Just
walking around. I'm like playing music for a while, and then I go over and like do a bong rip or like pound a beer. And
angry Asian guy walking around punching people.
people like 2 people who have their clothes off chasing each other around the party, and everywhere I walk I know everyone, so I'm high-fiving everybody and like hugging people. I didn't know you were here. And then I end the party on the roof with a bunch of my friends in LA, just sitting there looking at the stars, all just like taking shots and talking shit about each other, and then like stumbled my way down to my bed and passed out. And I also sleepwalked. I found out I was so drunk. Sleepwalked into Josh Androsky and Claire O'Kane's room and woke up with them being like, "Dave, what the fuck, man?" And I was like, "Oh, sorry." And I ran down, and then I woke up with the worst hangover of my life, but still like so happy. It was the best.
One of the
dude.
best nights of your
Yeah,
life.
it was amazing.
That's awesome, man. It's always good to hear. I love good party stories. I
Yeah.
just love when it makes someone feel good, and you're like, I just had the best night I've ever had.
Yeah.
It's just a good feeling.
For sure.
Yeah. I'm looking at you now. It's your turn.
Okay, I'll try to tell this as fast as possible. 'cause
You've
I know
got
we're on the
time.
crunch.
We're not that crunched.
Well, when I was 15, I went on a cruise. Yeah, 15. I went on a cruise with my friend Matthew and his brother and their family.
I've never been on a cruise. I always assumed that, like, in my head, I'm like, this is such a good idea. Let's go on a cruise. But then I look at stuff on the internet, and I'm like, oh, this is the worst idea.
Yeah.
This looks like it's awful.
They're pretty terrible, but they are pretty fun. I don't know how to describe them.
Yeah.
They're not very cultured, but they're pretty fun. Put
Yeah.
it that way.
Yeah.
But we showed up on the deck of the boat, and the dude that I was with, his parents bought us all drinks.
Nice.
And then we're like, okay, we'll see you in 4 days. And then like walked away. So it was basically like, do whatever you want, idiots. We just bought you beer. We obviously don't care if you drink. Do whatever you want. And so we went crazy on that trip for 4 days. We found out a way we could drink for free because they closed the deck, like the top swimming deck, at a certain time. And they closed the bars up there, but all they would do is just take the taps, spin the taps off of the beer but that was it. Like, you could still use the taps, and there was like a tower of glasses right next to them.
So you would just steal the beer.
All beer all night long. You could just have a table of beer all night because there was a security guard that would come by every half an hour, like on the half hour.
And that's
Dude.
it.
And that
They come in and all their
It's
kegs are
fucking
popped.
incredible.
a table of beer.
How old were you?
Teenagers, 15.
Oh,
What?
Jesus.
Yeah.
See,
I didn't realize
I was thinking
that.
like you were 20,
This
20.
age.
Yeah.
So we were going nuts. We were throwing furniture off the side of the boat, like just having the fucking- it was great. Like
That's
all the
awesome.
picnic furniture. It was fun. We got in trouble because
You threw the furniture off of
No,
the boat?
because somebody, one of our, I can't even remember who. I think it was the friend's girlfriend. Somebody was involved with our party. Went and jumped in the pool, but it had a net over the top of it to keep people out of the pool.
So he just jumped
And-
onto a net.
Wow.
Yeah, and then she couldn't get out.
Wow.
Not like she was struggling, like she was going to drown, but she was just drunk and couldn't figure it out. So then we got in trouble for that and, like, got kicked off the thing. Not, like, kicked out of the boat or anything, just, like, kicked off the deck for that night. Like,
Wow.
it didn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are they going to do? Throw
There's,
you
Yeah.
overboard?
is there, or they could put you, don't you hear about, like, cruise ship jail? Isn't there, like, a
guess.
jail?
I'm sure there is.
I don't know if it's real, but I feel like
But
it was
we
in
were
a
also,
movie.
like, kids. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think they...
Well,
Yeah.
you
Whatever.
obviously get thrown in cruise ship juvie.
That's true.
They try you as an adult on cruise ships.
Yeah.
International waters, baby. There are no rules. But I got some weed on one of our stops. Like, I don't remember, St. Thomas or something.
Where's that? What is that? Jamaica?
No,
I
it's
don't
in
know
the. It's close to there. It's in the
Okay.
Caribbean. So we were down there somewhere, and I got some weed, and when I brought it back onto the boat, which I guess was dumb, I didn't really think about it because I was sneaking drugs on there, and I had also gotten a pipe. But somehow that word spread quick throughout the cruise community that I had some weed, and people were coming up to me all
were the-
weekend being like, "You got some weed?" And I was like, "What do you got?" I was like, "A fucking power."
Wow, dude.
At 15 for real. I snorted Ritalin for the first time.
Oh, Jesus.
A couple dudes gave me ecstasy just to like smoke a little bit of my weed because I was
That's
the only
hilarious,
person who
man.
had some.
And
I
also,
met-
these people are awful. You're 15.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
giving
they
you
were.
ecstasy at fit. Were they adults?
they were like college dudes.
Awful, dude.
They were awful, but they were also super fun because they were like these three weirdos. One was like this really tall guy from Russia. One was a really fat dude from New York, and the other one was a very handsome guy from Australia or from Italy. And they looked exactly like very stereotypical. Everything that I just said, like the Russian dude looked very
Typical
Russian,
handsome Australian guy.
and they had like really thick accents, and the like
Yeah.
really tall dude loved dancing. The really handsome Italian guy liked working out and sitting by the pool in a Speedo.
And the fat guy
loved
liked
drinking.
Oh, yeah.
And they were just the best, and they were all fun. And we played, we bought a lot of champagne with them. We played ping pong with them. We smoked weed. It was like the best. We had a great time with these dudes for 2 full days. And then at the end of the whole party, one of them broke accents, and we found out that they were just like 3 dudes from Wisconsin.
Pretend.
What?
Oh, that
Yeah.
is amazing.
And I was like, "What? You guys are the fucking best!"
yeah,
Like,
no,
"You
they're
guys are
automatically the
best."
greatest.
They were just like partying real hard, being weirdos.
I was wondering how
was so
all
fun.
those people from different places
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I'm from New York.
Yeah.
I'm,
And
yeah,
then,
that's
like
amazing.
the fat guy just couldn't do accents very well, so they like made him be New York guy.
That's hilarious.
Because that was like pretty much all he ever said.
And also, like, they must have been good at the accents, the other
Yeah,
two.
the Russian guy was great. And
Never
the Italian
knew.
guy was great. It was like they were so weird and fun and just partied so hard for 3 days with us. It was the best time of my life.
That's hilarious.
Totally carefree. I didn't spend any money. Like it was
That's incredible.
the best.
What a good thing that they did.
No
That's
kidding.
awesome.
It was
That's
so
amazing.
fun. I wish I could do that with my friends.
Yeah,
Had the commitment.
Guys, I'm sorry. I really got to
Yeah, you
run.
you gotta
Gosh.
run.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
real
yeah.
quick.
Do
Dave's leaving right now. Dave, where can people find you? And do you have anything coming up? And I say in the next 2 months because that's when it's going to come out.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm at Dave to the Ross on everything. DAVETOTHEROSS on Instagram, Twitter. My website's davetotheross.com. I have some touring. I'm going to be in Austin in June. I'm going to be at the 208 Festival in Boise in September of 2018. And, yeah, other than that, Chris and I have a web series coming out soon that he can tell you about. So,
Sweet.
And I
dude,
will.
thank you so much for having
Hey,
me
no
on the
problem.
show.
This was awesome. Thank you for doing
Now I'm
it.
going to go in the
Get up,
next
get
room
in
over
there,
and
man.
do some
I'm gonna come
stand-up.
watch you in about
Hell
10
yeah.
minutes.
Cool.
Awesome. All right.
Perfect.
Hell yeah, dude.
It's about to get intimate.
Ooh, thankfully.
Just the two of us. Now that this guy's out of here.
Thank God. Who
That's
was that,
yeah,
by the way?
I don't
Do you
know. He's a loud talker.
Yeah, real loud.
I don't know.
Yeah, so for me, mine is Sharpie comedy. Jesus. CHARPIE comedy.
On Twitter.
Twitter.
Tweeter.
Instagram.
All of it.
All
you got
of those
universe.
too.
I got to change mine. I have too many different ones.
Sure, yeah. You
You
gotta
got to have this universal. I just don't know what I want.
Yeah.
I keep changing it.
I don't know. I just picked that early. I should have just picked Chris Charpentier. But
I don't have
didn't
many
'cause I'm an
followers.
idiot.
I'm not great at Twitter. I'm literally the worst comedian at Twitter in the
Yeah.
whole world.
I'm not. I just don't do it that much.
That's the
But I do
problem.
enjoy it. Like I like reading other people's stuff.
I'm with you. I like retweeting. I like liking other people's stuff.
Yeah.
I don't. Twitter is not satisfying enough for me because if I put something on Facebook, so many likes.
Sure,
Makes me feel good.
I get what you mean.
I can't handle it getting zero appreciation on Twitter.
I
need
understand.
someone to like it and be like, all right,
Well, this podcast is
enough.
going to change everything for
I
you.
can tell.
You're going to have thousands
I can
and
tell.
thousands.
I'm excited.
Not this one particular. I mean, you having your own.
Nope, it's this one.
Yeah, it's this one.
I
You're
was
going to get
banking
all
on
of
it.
my thousands of followers.
Nice, thousands. I got a couple.
Yeah?
Well, maybe some of mine will get up.
Yeah, we'll swip flop.
That'd be nice.
Let's get
I'll
3
tell him.
each.
I'll tell him.
from
Probably.
this.
That's is what I would expect.
I would love that.
That's pretty good.
That's
That'd
really
be
good.
great. I'd be very happy with that.
Fucking A.
You got anything coming up?
Well, Dave mentioned our web series that we wrote and starred in together. It's
This one you were telling about earlier.
Yep, it's called Adopted. It's very, very silly. I'm not exactly sure when it's going to be come out, but
One day.
it will come out. So be on the lookout
Adopted.
for
What's
that.
it about?
Dave and I are adopted brothers. Like we come from different families, adopted by the same parents.
Nice.
Who try to find our birth parents.
You guys like each other in it, or you hate each other? What's the dynamic?
Tolerate each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
But we're adults now, so it's weird. We live together. It's very silly.
I
Very,
w-
very silly.
Yeah. That is weird. I would imagine being adopted into a family, not really being related.
Right.
Be strange as adults. Like, yeah, that's my brother, I guess.
I guess. Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of that.
That's awesome. Anything
Yeah.
else?
You know what? I don't know off the top of my head months in advance, and
I get
that's
it.
totally fine.
Don't worry about it. No.
Yeah,
Trust me.
Twitter,
No one's
Instagram,
listening anyways.
Twitter,
They might,
Instagram.
Follow him on all this stuff,
Yeah,
guys.
you can. If I do have any upcoming dates, it'll be on my website, chrischarpentier.com.
Awesome.
Check
Well,
that
thank you
out.
for doing the show, man.
Dude, thank you.
Yeah.
I love it. This
It was
is fun.
great. I had a
love
good
party,
time.
party.
Party,
All the time.
party. As Andrew WK said that. That's
Hell
a
yeah.
quote.
Well,
I don't know. Guys, thanks for listening. This has been another episode of Party Stories with Andrew Youngblood. I appreciate you guys listening. You guys can follow me, as always, at No Youngblood on Twitter or at YB Books on Instagram or any of that garbage. We tune in every single week. This is we got a lot of good guests coming up, and thanks so much. Later.
Party story.